welcome to the Gothic Unicorn. Today I'm going to be starting work on my 1/48 scale house. Now, if you've watched my last 1/48 scale video, you'll have a little sneak peek of which building we're working with, but I will be setting that out in a minute and we'll have a look at it and we'll go from there. But I'm going to start off with something a little bit different because I've just had a delivery. I ordered a few things from Petite Properties last week with this project in mind, and they've just arrived. And so I'm going to open them with you. Now, I have taken these out of the padded envelope that they arrived in, and it does always make me smile when so much can just come through my letterbox. And what I've got two lovely little black and white striped paper bags, and let's see what I've got in here. I might have ordered it, but I can't actually remember exactly what I did order. I think I know what this is. Aha, yes. These are the doors that I want for this house, because rather than putting in staircases, because it's a flat back property, I'm going to put doors at the back of the rooms so it looks like there's something beyond what you see. So I've got 3 Victorian door kits, which are going to be non-functioning doors in my new house. Let's put those there. In shot. Hope so. And then I've got some more goodies in here, some of which I really want to use in the new property. Others I'm not sure about, but whilst paying the postage and packing, I picked up a few options. Always good. So let's see what we've got. We've got some chairs. These are dining chairs, just a nice sort of old-fashioned kind of chair. I've got a writing bureau set. I've got a glazed corner cupboard. I like the look of that. I am thinking, yes, that could work. I don't know. I've got some shelves. I've got another shop counter. This is an actual shop counter that you might expect to pay at. And then I've got a bookcase for some shorter shelves. So I've got a nice little selection there. Nothing out of the ordinarily exciting, but they're all pieces that I think I could possibly use in my doll's house. There is one thing that I thought I ordered and didn't, obviously, so that will have to go on the next order if I decide to go down that line. But it sort of serves me right for making an order and promptly forgetting what I'd bought. The house I'm working on this time is Petite Properties number 13, which is part of their Dead End collection. Now, what I've got here are the main pieces. I've got the back and front of the house. I've got 2 sides, I've got 3 floors, and I've got a roof. These are the big bits. These are the bits it's quite easy to tell whether you've got what you need, and I have. I know I have because I've actually put this together, sort of dry fitted it to have a look at the sizes and everything. I did that the other day before I ordered those pieces, and that's when I decided that I wanted some doors to go on the back so it looks like the property is deeper than it actually is. This is one of their flat-backed properties which are designed to stand on a shelf or something like that, and I think that's great. I love the properties that are 360, but it does make it a little bit harder to adapt them to your own specifications, because the room for things that are out of sight is greatly diminished. So we've got all those, and we will stack those back up, and I will pop them at the back of my desk. And then I've also got two smaller bags. This first one has got some MDF pieces, and then this has got pieces that are cut from mount board. And I've got my instructions, which has got its list of parts. So I'm going to lay these out and check them against the instructions and the parts list and make sure that I've got everything before we start actually doing anything. I've checked all the smaller pieces and everything is there. I've read through the instructions completely as it explains that you should do. It's always a good idea to read the instructions before you start. And my next step is going to be to decorate the inside of the property. This is just because at this scale, trying to decorate afterwards is a bit foolish, really. You could do it, but it's far easier to do it in pieces while the house is still flat. Now I've put the basic structure together so that you can see. This house is just under 7 inches tall without the roof, and it's about 4.5 inches across. I haven't measured the depth because I didn't think to, and I would actually have to move it because my ruler doesn't go straight from the end. But it just gives you an idea of how small this actually is. So I'm going to let these pieces go where they want to, which is basically to lie flat. And I'm going to start looking at an interior scheme for it. I've got some ideas. I've got some small scrapbooking paper that I've pulled out already, and we're going to see where that takes me. It has taken me quite a while, but I think I've got the inside of number 13 under control. I started off with floors, and what I actually decided was I was going to go with a fake floorboard effect, using some scraps of cardstock. This is the 160 GSM cardstock that I put through my printer, and what I've done is I've actually scored lines on it with my paper piercer, and then I've just turned those into little planks. And that's actually what I've done on the real thing, but this is just a piece that, you know, just shows you how it started out, complete with a few marks where I was having problems with my pens. So I've got my attic floor. This is going to all be dirtied up once it's in situ, but my attic floor, first floor and the ground floor. Now the ground floor I've gone with the tiled effect, which is a bit rough and ready, but it's done in the same way. It's done with scoring the lines, and then I have time-consumingly coloured in each tile with alcohol markers, and I've used a black and a grey rather than you leaving it white, because you actually get a better effect this way. And then I have painted each one with Mod Podge. Not painted the floor with Mod Podge, I have painted each square of the tiles. I did all the black and then all the grey, and it just gives you a bit of a sheen and a bit more texture to it. The wood floors I've coloured with alcohol inks as well, in I think it's cocoa and tan were the colours on that. I wanted that one to look like it had been finished once upon a time, and that one to look like it had never been polished or waxed or anything, just been left to its own devices. Now for the walls, I've gone with scrapbook paper, and these are two different scrapbook papers. This one is a grey and white stripe, and then this one is a sort of browny black colour with a little print on it. And I just cut that down and stuck it in place. Not anything particularly exciting, but it works. And I'd got some prints that were a suitable size. These came off a 6x6 pad. 2 6x6 pads actually, because they're different makes. But if you look out for the smaller scale scrapbook paper, you can get some great prints that work in the smaller houses. And then for the attic, I've just painted it with craft paint in, I think it's linen, and I've also done what will be the ceilings in the same colour, just to finish things off. Now those edges are done in a dark grey because I've got a feeling that they may be visible when the roof is on. So I just painted those grey, and I've done the top of the side pieces the same. And then I've also started on the inside of the front, because this isn't going to be seen when it's in situ. I've just gone with this dark grey, which is ash grey, I think it is. This needs another coat. I've only given it one so far, just to see how it looks. And then obviously the main detail of that will be on the outside. But it's just to finish it off and keep things looking good. So I think I'm going to start sticking things together. So I'm going to go and have a look and find some glue out and that sort of thing, and then I'll come back to you. The structure of my house is now together. I have followed the instructions, and what I've done is I've just put the front on so you can actually see it, because I think there's always a wonderful moment when you've got something that actually looks like a house. I'm going to take the front off and put him aside, and then you can see I've got my 3 rooms. Well, 2 rooms plus the attic. I've actually started putting a bit of paint around these front edges, but it's going to take several coats because they're covered with the sort of burn marks that you get with a laser cutter. And at the moment the house has got some masking tape on the bottom, just because the one panel was kicking out at the bottom, and I've put some more glue into the gaps and I've squeezed it together, and I'm quite happy with it so far. It's looking rather nice. I'm obviously going to have to distress the downstairs room. It's far too clean, but that will come shortly. Now, I haven't shown putting this together because, to be fair, I did a really in-depth video on Raven's Perch, and this one is just simple. This was just 6 pieces to put this together, but I followed the instructions, and if you buy a Petite Properties house kit, just follow the instructions. They are really thorough. I'm impressed with how much instruction they actually give you. They identify the parts, and you know, they remind you about things, about making sure things are dry before you move on to the next step, which we're all guilty of. We all want to rush off and do the next bit and do the next bit. But, you know, you have to take your time sometimes. So it's quite straightforward. You put in the ground floor, and then you to the back, and then you attach a side wall, and then you put in your other floors, and then you put in the other side wall. And you've got a box, which is a house. And then you put your front on, and you've got a complete house. Obviously, without the fancier bits. Now, I'm trying to make up my mind if I'm going to go for just painting the wood to get that sort of effect that this MDF will give you, the way it looks like it could almost be plastered on the outside. I think actually it's called rendering when it's on the outside, isn't it? But it looks like that without you having to add extra depth or anything to it. So I'm trying to decide on that one. And so my next step is actually going to be to put in some doors inside. Now, as I said, I want fake doors on the back, so it looks like the house goes further back. Although the shape of the roof, when it fits on, isn't going to completely go with that idea. But we can make it work. We can always make it work. Now, I have actually got the roof here. The roof is made from mount board, and I've just put a coat of the linen paint inside, and then this folds down and then fits on. Let's have a look. I think it fits in something like that. Or does it fit over? I don't know. I need to check. I need to look at the pictures, but it just means that I've got to be aware of all this, because I might not be able to put my door in the roof. Okay, I'm going to have to go and have a bit of an explore at this one and see what, if anything, I can see. So, what do you think? I think it's going to go on. It's going to go on like that, isn't it? It's going to fit over the top. I'm having a moment. This is the sort of thing that normally happens without the camera, which is me sort of fiddling with pieces. So yes, I can get my door in there and then put whatever I want in there, and then the roof will just slide off like so. Obviously, the roof needs more work. It all needs more work, but onwards and onto the doors. I decided to go with a simple Victorian door for this house, and all the doors are the same. I think I showed you that earlier on. And it is a really, really simple premise. You've got your door, you've got a decorative piece which provides you with your panels, and then you've got a second piece which provides you with a frame that stands proud. Now, obviously, if you want to make this into a working door, you have to repeat the process on the other side. But these are actually done, and it says in the instructions, it's done as a false door. However, if you want, you can make them into working doors. I don't need to. So I'm going to be ignoring two parts of it, and I'm just going to be working with these. And it also comes with, in the bottom of my bag, some little tiny beads to make the door handles, which I think is a wonderful little detail. So I'm going to colour these doors. I'm going to go with the cocoa coloured alcohol marker that I used earlier, and everything's trying to fall onto my desk. And I'm just going to colour all the pieces with the marker before I glue it. I find that this just makes sure that I can get around all the edges and things. And so I'm going to unpackage the others and set up all my pieces, and I'm going to do a bit of a door assembly line. Doors are constructed, and as you can see, they're just really quite cute. The level of detail on these pieces is what makes these kits for me. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick some glue on the back, and I'm going to put my attic door in place. And the attic door I'm going to put in the middle of this wall. I'm eyeballing it, but I think that's about right. I've put them all in different positions. They're all going to be stuck in place. It's a little bit off to the side, but it'll work. And then that is the basics of the internal structure done. Obviously I need to distress it, but it's looking like a house. It is looking like a house. I've got to do the outside obviously, and most of the decorative bits go on the front. I've got to do the roof and the dormer window, but my house is coming together. So my next step is probably going to be, I don't know, maybe look at the roof, maybe start looking at the exterior. Still got to decide which finish I'm going for, but I'm really pleased with how number 13 is going together. I have tiled the roof. I went with tiles in the end, or at least the effect of tiles, after lots of thinking, and I've made it quite a rough roof. There's lots of nicks and things out of it. I don't know how well this is actually going to show up on camera, but the tiles are strips of black cardstock that I embossed into individual tile shapes, and then took some chunks out of various places. And when I put the paint on, some of it went a little bit bubbly, lifted bits where I thought it was all nicely glued down. But I'm not going to worry about it because I think it adds to the look of a certain degree of, what's the word I'm looking for? Disrepair. That's the word, disrepair. So I have done my tiles on the 3 sides at the front. The back is just painted in the same colour but just flat. It's not going to be seen. It's designed to be on a shelf. And then the top is just plain as well. I've got the bits of the dormer window prepared and painted. Dormer windows over here, and that's going to fit in to the front, something like that. And I'm quite pleased with it. I've got a chimney to go on the back, but the roof is almost done. I say almost done, it needs some distress painting, and I need to address that one little patch down there that looks really pale. I may just stick some moss or something there so it looks like, yeah, it's supposed to be a bit different. Not sure. There is another piece of roof that goes on top of there, which is why that isn't properly painted. I started painting it and then realised I didn't need to. And there's that many little bits on one of these kits that you don't paint the bits that you don't need to. So I'm going to go back to my painting. This is actually day 4 of the build. And yesterday was spent doing the roof. It sounds quite a lot of time, 4 days so far, but that is working somewhere between 3 and 4 hours each day on the project, and believe me, the floors and the tiles for the roof took a lot longer than I expected them to, a whole lot longer, but it's going to be worth it in the end. It's coming together. As you can probably see off to the side here, I've got lots of bits that are painted, part painted, and once it's all painted it's going to come together pretty quickly. So I'm going to go back to my painting because I don't particularly want to be watching paint dry, but I seem to be doing a lot of it at the moment, and I'm not going to inflict it on anybody else. So I'll go back to the painting and then I'll come back to you when I've got something more to report. I have gotten so carried away today, it is ridiculous. And I've got something that looks like a house. As you can see, the roof's been finished off. I've added the dormer window and the roof. I've added the chimney pot at the back. I need to do a bit of touching up on the paint on the chimney pot, but it's there. And if I move this forward, you've got the rest of the house. I've got the trim, which so cleverly covers up the little mechanism whereby you hang the front on. And then I've got beautiful arched windows, and then down here I've got the balcony and steps up to the door. It's superb. I love it. I love that I can have that door open a bit. I have actually glued the other one into place so that it looks like that's how it's supposed to be. I haven't done anything with the planks yet because I am debating whether I'm going to put them on. I want in part to put the planks on and put a sign on the planks that says we're still open. I don't know. What do you think? Something like that. So that in order to get in, you'd have to climb under the planks. Is it doable? Maybe. Maybe not. I might even put one of the planks so it looks like it's been sort of torn down so that people can get underneath those. I'm not sure. I got to decide what colour to do the planks. I've got to distress the house. So much more to do, but it's looking good. The only thing I'm disappointed on is one of my paints. I bought 3 grey tones of paint. Hopefully you can tell. There is one grey that's on the steps and the roof, another grey which is the darkest grey, which is the body of the property, and then I got a lighter grey which I was going to paint and then distress. Well, it looks distressed because after 3 or 4 coats of paint, that's the best I can get. Wouldn't recommend this Stormy Grey art studio paint, which is produced for the range in the UK. The pigment in it is not very good. I'm going to be trying to track down some of the light grey paint that I've used in the past. Hopefully I can still get it by buying it online. I do hope so, because the coverage was so much better. But it works on this property because obviously I want it to look grimy. I want it to look aged. I want it to look distressed. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. I sort of decided, okay, it'll do. If I add some darker bits onto it, it'll do. So anyway, I just wanted to share this because, oh, there goes the roof. The house is together. And yeah, it's taken me 4 days. That's 4 days, as I said earlier, 3 to 4 hours a day working. Probably be a bit longer today by the time I've packed everything up, but it's together, and now I can think about actually finishing it off. I think I'm actually going to end this video here. I left the house yesterday thinking I'd come back to it today and I would get on with the distressing and make a decision regarding the planks that are supposed to be boarding it up. But instead I think I'm going to leave it where it is as a completed building, and then carry on with the next stage in a second part to this little series. Just because the video is already getting a bit long, and I'm not really making anything that anybody can copy, so I don't see the value in me spending another 10 minutes chucking paint on it and showing you what I've done and that kind of thing. That's 10 minutes of video time, probably about 4 or 5 hours of my time. So That said, I hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into number 13, and we'll come back to see how this house building turns into my completed spooky shop. If you have enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe. Maybe ring that notification bell if you want to know when there's a new video, which is normally every Friday. And until next time, bye.